Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we had Nintendo come along and throw some cold water on those Switch Pro rumors, and the worst kept game announcement finally gets an official announcement. We have those topics and more to cover, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so we can keep you up to date with all the latest gaming news. And don't forget that we are giving away that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition throughout the month of August. So make sure to check the link out in the description below. Now let's get started. So yesterday we discussed how Nintendo's sales were down this past quarter. And of course, everyone is wondering when we'll get a successor to the Switch. Well, there was a report coming from Nikkei in Japan, which is kind of their equivalent to the US stock market. And we have a interpretation here from a Bloomberg reporter. It says, Nikkei, there will be no new Nintendo hardware this fiscal year, which ends in March 2023. Not immediately clear whether that part of the article is from Nikkei's own reporting or what Nintendo president who Nikkei interviewed for the story said. Now technically with the fiscal year ending in March, people wondered if we would see, the Switch Pro is going to be coming in April. And that would still be technically correct, but no one really knows what's going to happen. With ongoing supply issues, it might be best overall to wait until these issues are resolved before Nintendo launches new hardware. And even though Switch sales numbers were down, it still was the highest selling console of the year. But then again, we also have people pointing out that Breath of the Wild 2 was delayed until spring of next year, which would still put it in line to maybe have a release with new hardware. But knowing Nintendo, we'll probably just get a Breath of the Wild 2 Switch OLED like they did with Splatoon 3. Next, we finally get an official announcement for Tactics Ogre Reborn after months of leaks. We have the headline here from Square Enix's official website. A closer look at Tactics Ogre Reborn. The revered strategy RPG returns November 11th, 2022 on PS5, PS4, Switch, and Steam. Now Tactics Ogre Reborn is coming to more systems than just PlayStation, although it looks like the Xbox is missing out on this one. Now this is based on the 2010 PSP release, and the game is described in the article as a massive enhanced edition of the revered tactical RPG featuring improved graphics and sound, improved battle mechanics, updated game design, and much more. Now the pre-orders are already up at Square Enix's website, and so far there's only the digital versions, so I'm not sure if we're going to see a physical copy of this. And so far they just have the PlayStation and Steam version here, so I'd expect the Switch version to be available on the eShop at any moment if it's not already up by the time this video goes up. So we can finally put to rest one of the worst kept secrets in video gaming over the past few months. And we have a quick update relating to that Wave 2 of DLC for Mario Kart 8 that released yesterday. So while we were all expecting the new tracks to be added yesterday, Nintendo decided to do another little update, and in the announcement saying that these tracks were live, they have a reply to their own announcement saying, "Meanwhile, there's been an update to Coconut Mall." Now if you had played the original version on the Wii, you noticed something different at the end of the lap, that these cars on the track don't move on the Switch version. And needless to say, that brought a few complaints from gamers. But now the cars are moving with this latest update, and now you'll regret your complaints when they take you out on the last lap when you are in first place. So be careful what you wish for. All kidding aside, I really do like this change. The track just seemed kind of lifeless here at the end, and it does add a much needed challenge. And finally, let's take a look at the latest sales numbers coming out of Japan from Famitsu. On the software side, of course, the number one, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that released last week. Then we also have Digimon Survive in the number 2 spot, which is another game that came out last week. And then going down the list here, we have Nintendo Switch Sports, followed by Monster Hunter Rise plus Sunbreak, Live Alive, Gran Turismo 7 on the PS5, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and number 9 we have another new entry, Tengoku Struggle Stray Side. And this is another visual novel for the Switch to kind of go along with what Digimon Survive is mostly. And then finally we have Minecraft for the Switch. Now I'm not surprised to see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the top spot, but one interesting note is that these sales numbers ended July 31st, which was this past Sunday. So we really only had 3 days of sales counted here, so I expect this game to be in the top at least for several weeks here. And let's take a look at the hardware sales. We have the Switch OLED in first place, and the PlayStation 5 did really well this week with over 36,000 units sold. Now I went back and looked at some of my notes, and last week it sold just over 9,000, and the week before that was just over 11,000. So to jump to over 36,000 is pretty large, and I also checked back all the way to the start of June, and this was the largest week of sales numbers for the PS5 that I've seen. So we'll just have to see if this trend continues, and maybe Sony's gotten some of the supply issues straightened out. But then going down the list, we have the OG Switch at number 3, and the Switch Lite at 4, the Xbox Series X at 5, PlayStation 5 Digital Edition at 6, Xbox Series S at 7, and then we had just over 100 people that needed to replace their new 2DS LL and PlayStation 4. And looking back at the total sales numbers for all the Switch systems and all the PlayStation 5 systems, I have to wonder if we might not see the PlayStation 5 overtake the Switch here in a few months if Sony really ramps up production and has some of these supply issues straightened out. And that's all we have for today. Did anything we cover catch your attention? Are you interested in Tactics Ogre Reborn now that we have an official announcement and a trailer to go along with that? And obviously we know Nintendo will eventually release new hardware. Do you think we're going to see that release sometime in the next fiscal year? Drop a comment about those topics or anything else we covered today. I want to thank you for watching, have a great weekend, and be good.